All right, so if we remember where we had just left off in this project, we had written our Cython source file here to convert our C code into code that Python can understand using this Cythonized compiler, I guess really a shared object generator. We wrote our shared object here. It's called audio interface. Dot blah 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 blah. So Python's looking for this name and this file name structure, and that's what we can call to import in our program. We call audio interface, and that contains all these functions. So the next thing we want to do is we don't really want ultimately we don't want this module to look like this. And what I mean by that is that we don't really want people to have to do this whole thing to get to the size and the data that was returned. So what we're going to do is take this and say def get audio samples. We're going to make our own function, and we're going to pass it these parameters. And then I don't remember if you have to define a function. I think you have to define the functions first in Python, but I don't really remember. So we're going to do this to test it. And we're going to do a print here. Print inside get audio samples. And then at the bottom, we're going to print finished. And then I actually might comment this output out because that's a lot of like output that we don't really need. So let's save this and then let's give it a run. Invalid syntax. What is invalid about this? Let me look at this for inspiration. cdef. All right, let me just do this then. Let me figure out like how to do syntax in Python for a function. Maybe get audio samples pi. What is invalid about this syntax? I have a def. Maybe I'll do a pass so that we can just test the function. No, you definitely need that after the thing. All right, what am I messing up? I think it's hashtag in Python. Unexpected indent on line 4. Oh. On line 23. What the hell? Oh, that's how it's treating the comments. Okay, so let's just define a function, my function, and let's just pass and see if we can. Oh my God, it's here. Shit. It's because I copied and pasted it at the bottom. Oh my God. So let's print. So since these are 0 indexed, I'm gonna do a size -1, but we'll get the idea. Oh, I'm so dumb. What was the error saying? Line 38. Oh, I should have read the error more carefully. Okay. So we're in pretty good shape. We're able to unit test this. Now, what I want to do is I want to move this to another file. We're going to make a new file that says let's save it in my Python project folder with all these. We'll call it audio project.py. And then let's just run this empty Python file. So we can see that our audio project is here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to import test setup. And I'm going to say setup dot then I'm going to copy this whole thing in here. Test setup dot get audio samples. And there we go. So core dumped. That's not good. Let me go back here and see. All right. I think that duration might be a little bit long. I think there's a timeout on it, so we'll do like 4 for this next time. So let's sample away. I was reading online about the way the audio driver actually works. So let's keep our audio stream down to a manageable limit. Because I was reading that there might be some kind of limit to non-Chrome OS access to the microphone. Because this technically isn't Chrome OS. It's a Linux container called Costini. Gosh, interfacing with the audio drivers. Anyhow, I'm going to close this because I want to rename this to, instead of tests, I want to call this audio API.py. So we're going to go back in here, we're going to call this audio API because this makes more sense now. I'll have to look more into that core dump because that means you're accessing memory that you didn't allocate. But I don't know where that would be happening at because the data, yeah, that's weird. Maybe we'll do like 128. The index only gets incremented if you end up inside the thing. It might be that the frames per buffer was too big, meaning that we were like it would return maybe not a full buffer, and we wouldn't be able to put all our stuff in there. Because now that I've lowered that to 128, we really got a lot of, I mean, we don't have any more problems. So let me look at this, and then let me go back into the audio. Let me open the audio API. And let me go back and print this out actually. And then comment out this pass. We're not going to get anything from it. Just to make sure that we're getting audio from the driver. Yeah, that looks pretty good. So we got a pretty good audio stream. The frames per buffer may have just been too high, meaning like it might not have filled up the 256 the whole way. We might have been trying to access memory that didn't exist inside of the, not inside of our array, but inside of the input buffer that was returned to us inside here. Where's our callback function? It's at the bottom, I think. Yeah, it might have been this that was the problem, not this. This is what I'm trying to say. Anyhow, so now we've got our API. We're doing well. So let me try something else. Like, what if I go here and say, like, I'm gonna make a new folder and say, new folder called mypyqt GUI project. And I'm going to try and I'm going to make a new file in here, and I'm going to try and import save as. Nope. Here, I'm going to save this as audio module .py. Oh my god, that's spelling errors. Okay, so let's change our directory. Let me deactivate this too. Then we'll echo Python path. So there are no Python paths. So I'm going to change this to mypyqt GUI project. Okay, so let's do Python 3. Great. So now what I want to do is I want to import my audio API. And let's see. So right now it says there's no module named Audio API, even though we just ran this project with Audio API. The reason is because if I use this command to look at the Python path, you can see it's actually equals, it's actually empty. So what I'm going to do, actually I'm going to print the working directory first. What did I just freeze at? Alright. I'm going to print this working directory and say export Python path equals Alright, what am I freezing? Oh, I think these need to be in quotes. Let me look up the command for this. Essentially what we're trying to do is add our directory to the Python path. I might have been right the first time. Oh, I don't need a $sign. I need to remove this, and the internet says I need to do this and put a thing there so that it starts the... Oh, I'm actually stupid. We don't need to print this. We need to print the path to the modules. So Python, when it runs, it's running from the folder that you run it from, right? So when I ran this command here, I run it from my Qt project, right? So in this line it runs because we didn't have any code in it. But in this line I wanted to look for my audio API. But the audio API doesn't exist in this folder. It exists. Let's go ahead and find it. I don't want that at all, because what I just did was add my own path. That's so dumb. I need to add cd my Python project. I need to add this folder to my audio API because it contains my shared object file and my audio API interface. So let's do this. Let's copy this, and then let's go back, and then go back into our my PyQt GUI project, then export Python path equals. Oh, that copied and pasted horrendously. And then we're gonna do this. We're gonna say echo. Yay. So echo, that command, you just look it up. Echo tells you what this variable is stored as on the computer. So when it returns that, it's telling you the Python path. This is just syntax you have to use. I just looked this up on the internet and put it in here. So now you can see that this audio module runs, which is great. And what we're going to do in this audio module, we'll move it up to the top so we can copy and paste. We're going to say size, comma, data equals audio API dot, and then what did I call it? What did I call this here? Get audio samples. Then I'm going to copy this and paste it in here. I'm going to remove that output first too. So I'm going to take this and just remove the output for all this. Okay, so now I'm going to run from this folder, and you can see got good data streams and stuff, so we're all good. Size data cannot pack a none. I didn't return anything. None type object means there's nothing there. We need to go here and return size and data, and that'll work. There you go. So now we have the ability to just call this audio API. So audio API.getSamplesPy. We got the size and the data, and life is good. So let me go through the steps one more time for this. So in this part of this, we started with we just started with this code in here, right? And what we did was we first tested this to make sure we could write this function correctly, because I'm an idiot. And then we wanted to import our module from a folder that's not the original folder that we generated the shared object file from. That's our shared object file. So inside here we had to enter the command. Don't think too hard on these commands. It's just like you just put the path of your project onto the Python path that it's looking for. That's great. So now whatever I want to do now, I just run, and I can take this data, and if I want to save it as a WAV file at the end, I can do that. But that's great. So now I could go back and suppress all this output, but I don't want to do that because I want to know where my code is at. Okay, so this is the final part of this, and now we can go ahead and build our Python GUI project. So like I can say import pyqt5, and we can go ahead, I'm going to comment this out for now, and we can go ahead and start working on a GUI in Python to do this, to take care of the management and input and do some fancy things. So that's where I'll stop this video.